Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Standard 81 podcast. My name is Sincere, and I am back with another Wednesday rant. I will be talking about relationship podcast and everything that goes along with it. But before I do any more of that, let's take a 30-second break so we can get our minds right, and then I'll get right back into it. In three, two, and we are back. And let's get into this, man. Let's talk about this a little bit. First, let me get some good music. All right, I like that one. All right, so let's get into this here. Let's talk about these relationship podcasts, man. Because here's what I think is going on, man. I think that the whole premise behind these podcasts, including mine, is a great idea and a great way to expose people, men and women alike, to intersectional dynamics, gender roles, the issues between men and women, and the things that uh, are the expectations of a relationship and a marriage, and the different things that people are thinking about when getting into relationships. But here's where I think it's all falling apart. I think we spend more time calling out each other's weaknesses and flaws and not enough time uh, figuring out solutions. And you say, well, what do you mean by that? Well, with half of your show, I'm going to just talk about the manosphere for a second. When half of your show or half of your podcast or half of your live stream, whatever it is you're doing, is essentially just sitting there and telling young ladies or women about their flaws and how their thinking is wrong and how they're not going to obtain this if they think like this, and how stuff is you're not going to get that by thinking like that, and wooty wooty woo. Does it make for good entertainment? Yeah, sure. But Jerry Springer was good entertainment. Are we looking to be the Jerry Springers of YouTube, a duplicate of Fresh and Fit, or to actually affect lives and make changes within relationships between men and women? Now you got to ask yourself that. Now I'm not going to sit there and tell you that what you do shouldn't be entertaining, because after all, you are in the media space. But what are you going to begin to delegate yourself more towards? Are you going to begin to delegate yourself more towards the entertainment or more towards the knowledge perspective? Because you got to choose. I mean, you got to choose. Let me give a good example of both, right? I spoke on Fresh and Fit. Shout out to them because I like some of their stuff. I don't always like their position, but I do like some of their stuff. Um, I think that they have carved out a niche for themselves as being relationship entertainment. Um, because one of their more popular streams is the after hours or the after talk with all the ladies. Now, mind you, they have several different channels that do several different things, but the one that they get the most views on, the most amount of views on, is not the ones that have to do necessarily with money or property or stuff. It always seems to be the one where the most chaos is caused. So I think they realized that it connected with that particular audience that likes to see that. Whereas on the contrast of it, you got somebody like a Jordan Peterson who prides himself on giving information. Now, if you find entertainment within that information that he's given, that's on you. But he is not here to necessarily propagate or to uh, or display any type of inherent degrading or anything like that. He's just here to talk about a particular issue that is on his mind with his guests and give out the information. Now, if it stirs up controversy, then cool, fine. We can talk about it, but you're not going to see the back and forth tedium like you see on Fresh and Fit. And I just called that out to give you a contrast between the two. Now, I am figuring out that the place that I want to be is more the informational sector, right? But I do like to give. I'm not so more looking to give entertainment as I am information. I will leave that to uh, people who are more qualified. But I can respect some of the OGs that did it. For instance, the Lapeef Network, uh, the now late great gone Kevin Samuels, um, Anton Daniels, who started his thing shortly after Kevin had passed. Um, Now, some of those have a controversial mix, but nonetheless, they started out as entertain. They started out as giving information. But what I think has happened is because most of these people realize that controversy and drama sells. This is what people want to see, just like they did back in the day with the Bad Girls Club and all these um, housewife shows and all this other stuff. And they tend to cater more to that stream of people. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but I'm saying it's not leading towards people actually getting together. It's just leading to more controversy and more people talking about what's going on, pointing out people's flaws and placing blame. We need to get past that, especially as Black folks. I'm calling out my people, especially as Black folks, man. Now, I know it happens in the manosphere or the red pill community broad. That means the Caucasian community, Asian community, so on and so on. But I'm Black, all right? So I'm not going to sit there and not address my people. We are by far the least married when we used to be the vast majority of people who were married. We overvalue materialism and money, and we seem to spend more, but none of us are getting together like we used to prior to the civil rights movement and slavery. We were the most married. We were the ones that were dominating families. This is why those things happened. This is why welfare was implemented. So you could take the man out of the household and now begin to replace the human man with the government and the reliance upon other things outside of the natural connection in which we were put together for. And while we need to discuss the differences between each other. And we need to look at the roles that each other play in a relationship. The emphasis shouldn't be to make one group look better than the other, because that's the whole thing that the manosphere is complaining about, feminism, and how feminism has turned our women against us, and woo 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 woo, right? But yet and still we get over here in this red pill and manosphere space, and we do the exact same thing that feminism has done to us. Now, is it an eye for an eye, or are we looking to actually make changes? Because I'm gonna tell you like this: some people, you just not gonna change their mind. It's just too late. It is just too late for them. It's just too late. We got to concentrate on we all we can do at this point is live in the present and push towards the future. And if all we're going to do on these podcasts and on these different things is sit there and call out each other and point out what each other ain't doing, and how you ain't got this and how you ain't got that and how she ain't this and how he ain't that, and it's not going to get us anywhere. I want to ask to these podcasts and podcasters that do this stuff, how many different relationships are people getting into because of the information and opinions you're getting out? And I know what you're gonna say, Mr. Sincere. You ain't nobody. People barely watch your stream. They heck, you ain't even really got no viewers like that. You ain't got no subscribers like that. So who are you to be talking? Who are you to say that? Who are you to be judging us when we cool? I get it. I understand. But is being popular and having views all you looking for? Because if it is, then cool, you've accomplished your goal. But if you are looking to actually make an impact or a positive impact, then ask yourself, what is your content really contributing towards the cause of people getting together? Or is it continuing to perpetuate the same situations over and over again? What's the definition of insanity? It's repeating the same stuff over and over again, or doing the same stuff over and over again and expecting different results. And that's what I'm seeing with some of these relationship podcasts. We keep talking about the same topics over and 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 over. And we keep on regurgitating this information, which is cool. Don't get me wrong. I'm a Christian. I know the value of repeating information, because the Bible is a tool that I read over and over again to retain information that I've already had and learn something new, even though it's the same 66 books that I've read over and over and over and over. Don't get me wrong. I understand the value of repeating, but you've got to start asking yourself, just like the Bible, is the information that I am giving yielding results? And if it is yielding results, what kind of results is it yielding? And are these the particular results that I am looking to get? If we are looking to continue the finger pointing and the placing blame and calling out each other, and cool, you've accomplished exactly what you want to accomplish. But if the goal was to make it easier for people to come together and relate to one another on a similar playing field, understanding the differences between each other, understanding the mindset of each other, and understanding that both of us need to change, then maybe that's not it. maybe that's not it. Maybe it's not making as big of an impact as you actually see. The one thing I can say about Kevin Samuels, the late great Kevin Samuels, is though his streams or his streams were very controversial, he did have some results. He did have some results, and people would actually call in and show, hey, it's because of you on his stream. I remember watching one of his streams where the girl literally called in, showed the ring. Now, do I know what happened after all that? No, I don't. But we did see some of the results. We did hear some of the results of his streams, of his podcast, whatever you want to call it. But for a lot of these, we don't hear about that. We don't see it. We just hearing people talk about issues, talk about their opinion, talk about this, talk about that, talk about woo, right? Which in my eyes is not really helping any. Ladies, if you're going to continue to sit there and if you're going to get on a whole panel with a whole podcast and sit there and talk about what men aren't and how they ain't doing this and how they need to improve, we've heard that. We know this is stuff we know. How about we talk about the other part? Ladies, what can we do to be better women? What is it that we need to work on? We know that you think you the table. We know that you think we know that you feel you got a ton to offer. And a lot of you do. This is stuff we know, but can you address the issue that the men are talking about on your podcast when you're sitting down and having your panels? Can you address them in a way that is positive and saying, I'm willing to make change in order to obtain this? Instead of just continuing to say, oh, they said this and this and this and this, and I'm pointing out this and this and this because they don't need to be talking. And the reverse goes for the men. We know that women have nowadays have these delusional standards. We know that they're out there being bad and acting whorish. We know that. But can we address some of the concerns that they have? Can we address the fact that we may not be stepping up to the plate in the leadership department? Because by far the Bible says we are the head of the household. Can we step up to the fact maybe we are not as equipped as we think we are to uh, really step into a relationship? Can we acknowledge the fact that we may not be as emotionally intelligent, which I hate that word. What is emotional intelligence? I don't believe those two words go together. I would like to say we are connected emotionally enough to be intelligent about how to restrain our emotions and how to control them. But I guess if you want a short form word for it, emotional intelligence works. Can we address that, fellas? So that we can start actually pushing forward towards more relationships, so that we can actually start pushing forward towards more people getting together, so that we can start hearing more testimonies on podcasts and on panels and on relationship talks about people actually getting together? Or do we just want to continue to be Jerry Springer and reaction channels? Because the sad fact is, Half of these relationship podcasts and all this relationship talk, these people are single Pringles, men and women alike, including myself. I'm not excluding myself. I'm not trying to make myself look like this guy that's got it all together, but I am wanting to address the issue that's on the table. For me, it's I know I have insecurities. I know I'm not patient. I know I can be very direct. I know I can be a black and white and not see anything but my way. I know this. I know this. I know this going into a relationship. I know the things that I would like from a spouse, and I know the things that I need from a spouse. But the want versus the need is a totally different thing. What I want, well, like any other man, we want a woman who is extremely gorgeous, who will cater to us and do all. But I've got to ask myself if I'm ready for all that. Count the cost. You've heard me say this a ton in these particular streams. Count the cost. Am I personally ready for that? Maybe not. This is a question I love to ask young ladies. What type of lifestyle are you looking to have in the future? And I know, gentlemen, that for a lot of young ladies, they want these soft girl lives, and they want these lavish luxury lifestyles. I already know I ain't got that to give. I can tell you that right now. So I don't even bother talking to them after I figure that out. So I just push it to the side and look for somebody who's more reasonable. I don't get upset. I don't get mad. I'm I'm disappointed because maybe she looked like what I wanted, but take it for what it is. The same way ladies made bad decisions in their past is the same way we made bad decisions. We need to hold ourselves accountable for that. Man, I think that certain men have these quote unquote baddies on their show or on their podcast or on their panels, not so much to educate them, but the hope is maybe I can bring them down to where they'll accept this, where they'll accept this idea. And I'm not even saying mediocrity, where they'll accept this idea and I'll have more of a chance with them. Nah, if that girl has got it in her mind that she this is what she wants, 9 times out of 10, you saying something to her about something is not going to change it. How do I know? I'm a Christian. And you say, Sincere, what does that have to do with anything? I'm gonna tell you what it does. You know how many times people talk to people about Jesus? How many times people evangelize to people about Christ? And some of them never accept that. And some of them come around after years of people talking to them. It varies. So for you to continue to think that if you just pound them over the head with this, that they're gonna change their mind, they ain't gonna change their mind unless they want to. Because see, the thing that you don't realize in these podcasts and in some of these panels is that the only thing a person has to do is be who they are and die. That's it. Sorry to break it to y'all. Change is only made in a person when they want to change. You can have 1,001 discussions with people, but if they don't want to change who they are, and they don't feel they need to change, then you can talk to your blue in the face, but you're basically throwing your pearls before swine. So unless you're just looking for entertainment value, talking to them is senseless. You ain't gonna convert a baddie's mindset into that of a housewife. Literally, what you're doing is trying to take a hoe and make her into a housewife, which y'all preach against. Don't do that. So then why even have those kind of girls on your panel? Ladies, why even talk about the hood dudes, the Pookies, the Ray Rays, and talk about what all the emotional drama and how they ain't woo 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 when you said you was looking for a good dude? Why talk about your ex and all the stuff he wasn't when you said you was looking for somebody good? These things don't seem to make sense. We talk about everything but the thing we say we really want, the thing that we say we really desire. Because I'm gonna tell you like this. I made a TikTok about this yesterday. I made two TikToks in similar veins. I don't think we really know what we want. I don't even think we know what we're really looking for. So we get on these panels and on these podcasts and we talk about a lot of stuff and we say a bunch of junk. But then when it actually hits us in the face, we don't know what to do with it because we've never been equipped for that. We've never even studied to show ourselves approved in that department. But the funny thing about it is that we studied to get the job that we got. We studied how to make the money that we got. We studied and did our due diligence to get to the places that we accomplished and strive for in life. But the one area that affects our lives the most, we don't do squat for. The one thing that can make or break us, we just leave it up to chance, vibes and feelings and all this other stuff. I heard a quote once that said, stop falling in love. Because if you fall in something, you can eventually fall out of it. We all want to fall in love. How about we meet each other and work towards love? How about we grow and love one another? I wish I had that clip. I would have showed y'all. But nonetheless, this is a rant. This is Rant Wednesdays. So I promised that I wouldn't do none of that on this. But I wish I had that clip. We are overwhelmingly letting our emotions and our illogical decisions take over our rational thoughts. And I believe this is for men too, because as much as we say that we're logical in these premises and thinking, we love to debate back and forth continually with people we know we ain't gonna get through. So what is it you're trying to prove at that point? Or like I said, is it you just want entertainment value? Because if all you want is entertainment value, cool. I'm not here to, you know. But if you want to hear difference of opinion and then engage in conversation that actually helps to educate and push forward towards more and better relationships, more and better marriages that brings people together, they cool. But if not, well, because we can't say continue down this road and say, oh, I'm here for this, I'm here for that, and continue finger pointing. That's a whole contradiction. That's a whole contradiction in and of itself. So we got to start asking ourselves in these podcasts, in these panels, on these streams, whatever the case may be. What are we doing this for? In reference to relationships. Now, if you're just doing a podcast, just be doing a podcast, then cool. Like Joe Rogan or whatever the case may be. If you're just doing podcast to primarily do podcast, then cool. I got you. Do whatever you want. But if you in this whole relationship genre, and you consider yourself to be talking about intersectional dynamics and relationships and lifestyle and stuff like that, you gotta ask yourself now what you're doing it for. Because we've been having these conversations now going on 5 years. And I know that it's been more than 5 years, but it's half a decade, right? Half a decade, and things seemingly still haven't changed. So we got to now start asking ourselves, what are we doing it for? If things are not getting better, see, we'll break it down in a business way. If it's been 5 years, and in that 5 years, the business that you hasn't produced any income above and beyond your investment, is your business profitable? Or do you need to reevaluate and start over? Or come up with a new idea? Or come up with a new concept? Whatever the case may be. I think it is time for people who put themselves in this particular genre to start asking themselves that question. What am I doing it for? And if I'm merely doing it for entertainment within this genre, cool, great. I'm all for it. I'm not here to hate on nobody. But if you're genuinely doing it to see people move forward in relationships, and you want to see better outcomes for society as a whole, and people to begin to marry and get married, and for communities, especially the Black community, begin to thrive in the time that we have left on this earth, then we need to start reevaluating what it is we're doing. It's time. 5 years is a long time for us to not have any results from this. And I'm not saying we can't continue to have the conversations, but let's ask ourselves, what's the results of these conversations? And that's all I'm going to say. Guys, check out the Standard 81 podcast over there on TikTok. And if it gets banned and the channel gets taken down, whatever, it just happens. Check out Instagram at Sincere the Artist. So if TikTok goes down, and I'm going to be over there on Instagram, so check out Sincere the Artist over there on Instagram. You can also check out my Facebook. The link to all those are in the description down below, so just check that out. And I'll see you guys on the next one. All right? Take it easy. Peace.